Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Angel's Haven. I've had a couple people mention how perfect my house always looked. So since this morning is completely torn up, I thought I would show you a little bit of a mess in a tiny house and talk to you about making changes and how difficult that is and yet how rewarding it can be even in a tiny space. So some of you know that I have several physical disability issues. One of them is that I have 3 degenerated discs in my back. Even if I weren't a high surgery risk, which I am, they wouldn't do surgery to repair those discs because they are surrounded by something called a Tarlov cyst, and I've been told that operating on Tarlov cyst is controversial, I think was the word that was used. So my back has been hurting sleeping on my futon. I have a very nice futon from Temple Slug in Kansas City. In addition to being fairly new, it is a futon that has inner coils, and so it is supposed to be more supportive. When I first bought it about maybe 2 years ago, it was, but my back has gotten worse, and I found that I needed a firmer mattress. I did a lot of research and I bought this one from Amazon. You're seeing it here. It's a Zionist. It has had a lot of reviews, some good, some bad, some mediocre. I bought the 8-inch, which is supposed to be firmer than the 12-inch, and I won't go into the reasons why. At any rate, it came yesterday, 4 or 5 days before it was expected. I had planned to take the air mattress down from the riding loft, from the sleeping loft, put my futon in the sleeping loft, sleep on the air mattress for a night or two, then open the new mattress when it came. It takes 24 hours to decompress, and I could sleep on the air mattress during that time if I needed to. Well, it arrived yesterday, 3 days early. My friends and neighbors, Macrina and Paul, who live in the RV next to me, came over and did the swap, and I slept last night in the sleeping loft. I made a little video from the sleeping loft, but it's too dark, you can't really see it. So I had to take all the pillows that I've had on my day bed off yesterday. They're here and in the riding loft. And it turns out, I'm going to turn around and show you, that the sleeping loft is exactly the depth of the width of a full-size futon. That meant I had to take the rattan stool that had been up there down, and I'll have to find a place for it, and I'll talk about that in a minute. While I was out, and so I slept up there last night, and you should have seen me getting up on the ladder. Let me pause and I'll pull the ladder out and show you what it does. Hold on. So this is what the ladder looks like when it's pulled out. I'm going to walk backwards very slowly. You can also see my breakfast dishes aren't done. So there's the ladder. Now that ladder is it's a little crooked right now, but it goes straight. That ladder is canted out into the room. If you're able-bodied, I'm going to move it over. Hang on. There you go. So it does go straight, And if you're able-bodied, the fact that it's canted makes it a very easy climb. Now, I can climb up the ladder without any difficulty most days. What I hadn't anticipated is the fact that there's only about 4 inches of platform available between the futon and the open air, and it's hard for me to hitch myself up. I have to turn around precariously, which for a disabled person with proprioceptor issues is difficult. And then I had to hoist myself up on that 10-inch futon, which is quite stable, but higher than I can really hitch myself. I'm telling you, it was scary and it was funny at the same time. I have a warped sense of humor. I'm from a big family. While I was up there, I got a bird's eye view of the dishes and cookbooks on top of that cabinet, and I thought, no, those look horrible. I can't really see them from down here. I mean, I can see them, but I don't think about how bad they look. So while I was up there, oh, you can hear the birds through the open window. We have such great birds here. While I was up there, I thought, I've got to get rid of some stuff. I can't have all that clutter up there. It's driving me crazy. So I have all the bedding. Oh, so why didn't I make the bed last night? Well, I washed the sheets that were on my futon. You know, you wash your sheets every week or whatever you do. And the whole park lost power last night. I live in an RV park. If you don't know, that's where I live, and power is provided by the park. There apparently was a fire up on one of the levees here in the islands of the California Delta. At least that's what I heard. And we lost power. So I was washing the sheets and power went off. And it didn't come back on for an hour, and by that time I was ready to go to bed and I didn't turn it. It was off, so it didn't go through the dry cycle. So I couldn't remake the bed, so all the pillows are still here. Well, back to the rearranging issue, I had a little rattan stool up there. I'm going to pause and turn around. There is the little rattan stool that was sitting up there, and it was a nice little side place for people in the sleeping loft to put their books or whatever, or glasses. And I was using that bench for a stool down here, and people could sit on it. Well, now I have one too many piece of furniture because the futon takes up all the room in the sleeping loft. So that will go back outside on the porch, and I'll use that space for either the little stool or this little chair. Both the little stool and the little chair fit in that cubby. So this is just a lesson in tiny living. I'm going to have to figure out where to put those dishes and books because I don't like the clutter. And I now know that my instincts about not climbing a ladder every night to sleep were pretty righteous. I will tell you that when I finally got up onto that futon, I laughed so hard, I thought, I'm going to fall off this loft laughing. Just the impact of being disabled and living tiny. I knew that a sleeping loft would not work for me, and surely it does not. So, for those of you who tell me that my house always looks great in my videos, that's very deliberate. Number one, I like to live in a neat and tidy house. I'm not obsessive, as anyone who was in my house in Kansas City knows, but I do like it to be neat and tidy. However, when you live tiny, if you just have one thing too many, then when you have to make a change, as I've had to make a change when I'm rearranging these mattresses, you end up one thing too many, and then you suddenly realize that you've let yourself start to bring in clutter. And the reason we go tiny, one reason at least, is that we don't want to live in the clutter. I am looking forward to sleeping on my new mattress. As I said, it's a Zinus, which has gotten a lot of reviews, some great, some mediocre, some bad. I read 1,000 reviews over the last several months, and then I waited until I got a sale on Amazon. So I'm hoping it'll work out for me, and I'm going to spend the morning fixing my house. I don't know how I'm going to make the bed up in the sleeping loft, because getting up and down that ladder turned out to be really frightening. So anyway, thanks for sharing a minute of my tiny life. I will post this video in a little while. I mainly just wanted to show you all that I'm not perfect, and sometimes living tiny can be amusing. So thanks for spending a minute of my tiny life, and I'll see you next time.